So hello there. Today we are going to do here a little piece. It's a rhino head with some hoops, trying to throw out his horn. For that we are going to use our Fold Pro Ear of the Horse, our tattoo machine, with these specs, with a 2.5mm stroke and around 5 volts. It could be a little bit higher, but it will be around 5 volts almost all the time. With this we are going to use also a ballpoint pen cartridge, okay, attached to our machine, and then we'll start stippling here, okay? Usually I always start with the dark parts, and this time won't be different. Let me just adjust here the lightness. Let's go. I'm going to start here with a little bit light layer overall, okay? And only then we are starting these dark areas, trying to give some volumetry, some 3D effect to the horn, placing the shadows where the shadows are and leaving a little bit the highlights where they should be. Okay. Even on the highlights we are going to stipple, so we will only leave the areas in full white where there are really harsh highlights, like some eye reflection or whatnot. If not, we are going to stipple. Here also, let's start here with a hoop, with this first hoop. These things are a little bit reflexive, and so we do have a little bit of separation from the downside of the horn. We are not going to fully saturate until the bottom, so you can see some separation here, okay? It's always fun to do some reflexive parts because like the contrast is way higher than stuff more organic. And you can exaggerate way more in these situations, right? Hello. Yes, it is. Thomas talks. Yes, it is. This is a a ballpoint pen. It's like a regular tattoo cartridge, but instead of a needle, it has like a ballpoint pen tip. And then you do what you usually do in tattooing. Same movements, same everything, but instead of having a needle, you'll just have like a ballpoint pen attached to your tattoo machine. It's a interesting way of developing some some knowledge and some getting used to the machine. Without going all the way into to human skin. For me, so I'm a tattoo artist. I'm a tattoo artist with five and something months of experience. So this has been like some kind of a New Year's Eve resolution. That I would practice more. So I'm trying to do at least one practice per day on this, something around always the realism realm with some surrealism around it. That's stuff that I think they are funny. Thank you, Kyla. Are you guys having a nice Saturday? So I was saying, I'm trying to do this like in a daily basis. Sometimes it's a little bit hard because I have bookings, I have tattoo appointments, and it's a little bit trickier to have it all scheduled and done. However, I always try to do at least one a day. Thank you. Yeah, if you search for like ballpoint pen cartridge or ballpoint pen tattoo cartridge or something like that, you'll see. You can get stuff like this from Amazon and whatnot. They are fairly cheap. Like a whole box of 20 you can get for around like 16 euros. So not that expensive. The only difference, of course, there are between this and obviously real skin. It's about the depth, of course, right? And here you have to be a little bit more careful because you can push as hard as with real skin. But other than that, that's really cool to try it, to experiment, and to practice. Usually, as I do mostly in my tattoo studio, I usually do much more like commercial work, fine line stuff and whatnot. And that's not that I don't like it, but this kind of stuff that I do much more, I do enjoy it much more doing this. I don't get to tattoo that much, so this has been like a nice way to do this stuff, build a little bit of portfolio as well, so that's cool. Even though it's not skin, you are still using a tattoo machine, the same principles, the exact same principles apply. So, and if you may, I would say that this stuff is a little bit trickier. Yeah, of course, really. But but in my opinion, and since obviously I already experienced both situations, both mediums. In paper, you have even less tolerance for mistake than with skin, okay? Because we are dealing here, like, if you just do a little bit of a touch with the tip, it's there. It's there. You can erase it, okay? Here on paper. In skin, it's a little bit more forgiving. In that way. So here you have to be really, really delicate when doing this kind of work. And that's why I say that this is nice for like handling the force you push into the medium with a tattoo machine. Because after this, then I figured, like, after I started doing this stuff like in a daily basis. When I go to tattoo, I'm really much more like light-handed, right? Yeah, exactly. And here, if you, well, I don't need to explain you, right? Everyone already experienced to draw something or write something on paper, so you know that if you just place a dot, the dot is there and will not leave, right? So that's why I'm telling you that this is in some ways it's a little bit harder to deal with than properly skin. And honestly, I don't know why there aren't that much people using this technique, like this technique to teach or to start learning different stuff. Because it's really interesting and effective. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm also in a run here for the YouTube partner program, so that is very much appreciated, the subscription. Okay, of course, no problem. So, I'm streaming on Streamlabs, and I got the Ultra package, let's say. It costs like around 20 something euros a month or something like that. just because I'm trying to do it on multiple platforms. So for YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. About the cameras, I'm using two cameras here, like a Logitech, I don't know the proper reference, but it's kind of old already, camera for the face, but since it's just a little bit in a corner, so for me that's cool. And for the main camera, it's a proper DSLR. It's a GH5 from Panasonic. But since my background was on film, I already had this, so I didn't have to buy anything specifically for this. I already had the machines, the cameras, let's say. Okay, so none of this is still definitive. I'm going to go through all of this first, and then afterwards I'll revisit some areas that will need to be revisited, okay? Yeah, no problem at all. Well, I'm using a proper DSLR here for the camera, but obviously I started using my iPhone for streaming, so of course you can still use your phone to do that. And if you are just dealing with one platform, like for instance YouTube, there's no problem at all, really. So applying here a light coat, trying to do like a uniform light coat on the rest of the horn. And this, you don't even have to push, you just like trying to hold the machine just and let it touch slightly on the paper, just to make a really light impression. And now we are starting with the cross hatching for the darker areas. As I also say, always cross hatch. Cross hatching is a friend. It helps you to turn everything uniform. The dot distribution way more uniform, so there's no directional dots visible. And this applies, of course, on tattoo. Yeah, of course. Well, I know you mean. I also have an iPad, but my iPad it was like those cheapest versions there was, and the camera is completely rubbish. You know, like it sucks. So if I would prefer all the time using my iPhone. However, if your iPad is one of the latest ones, why not? You can use it properly. Just go to manual mode, configure everything beforehand, exposure and whatnot. Fix focus, so it doesn't always pick up where you move or whatnot. Always fix your focus and you're ready to go. As you see here, I'm moving the paper around to do that cross-hatching stuff I was telling you. This is the upper side on tattooing on paper, because you can actually move your medium, because honestly with the person you can just simply tweak his or her arm around that much, but here on paper you have that freedom to do that, so that's cool. That's a huge benefit on working here on paper. Thank you, Infinity. Yeah, really. It would spare us a lot of back pain and whatnot if you could just simply pick some person's arm or or leg or whatever, and just simply like rotate it as we wish. So, carefully but surely, you now see that the horn here, it's also almost done. As I said before, I'm not willing to like finish everything in one go. As soon as I see that some part of the design is like around 90% complete, I'll just leave it and go for another one. And then if I need it, when I'm done with the whole design, I'll just revisit those areas, okay? And since we are here with stippling and this we have to deal with almost only with contrast, that is really difficult to to see if the contrast is good enough just from a little percentage on the whole design, you know. That you can only see when you finish or when you are almost finishing, and you can assess the whole design, and then you can see, okay, this is a little bit lighter than I would like, or this is a little bit darker, so we need to darken up the rest. So for that I just prefer to leave it like this, like leave it at 90%, and then we'll revisit that area if we need to. So now we are dealing here with the second hoop that went through the horns of the Rhino. Also, as I said, this way, besides being a nice training way to do things, that's also cool because you get to tattoo, let's say, not tattoo, but, well, you guys understand me, but you get to do these designs that you would love to tattoo, but you don't have eventually people to do so. So instead of just designing them on iPad or something like that, I'm drawing them with my tattoo machine and make them available so people can see. Yeah? No. Otherwise, Brett, as what I'm saying before was like, I don't understand honestly why most people don't, why there aren't that many people using this to learn, using this technique, this specific technique, because this is really cool. Like, okay, obviously that you miss the depth from the skin. Okay, that point is assured. But there's the same problem with fake skin, right? Because on fake skin, if you just push the needle all the way down, well, the line is perfect. So, and that doesn't really happen on tattooing, right? So that depth problem, that's there as well. So and I don't know why there's a lot of people using fake skin to learn to tattoo, and not that many using this technique. In my opinion, this is way harder than fake tattoo, than fake skin. Way harder. You have to train your hand to be really light, so you don't exaggerate and you don't miss things. And on fake tattoo, the fake skin, it's really also flexible and forgiving. And here, no. Here, if you accidentally push a point in the middle of the page, the point is there. It won't disappear. So for people starting out and wanting to learn like the grips and how to hold the machine and how light should be their hand and whatnot, I guess honestly this is, for me, it's the perfect way to start. It's like, first deliver me some really good content with this technique, and later on, okay, let's go to real skin. Like a good portfolio only with this technique, with like a stippling with a ballpoint pen. Okay, let's keep going. Now to the second horn. As always, starting here with a light tone. That's not much to this in terms of step by step. This is almost always what I'm doing when I'm doing this. It's like starting with a light tone in the whole area, and then starting with the cross hatching and seeing what areas need to be darker, Where's the contrast? Where's the light source? That's quite simple to do it. The difficult part, as always, is the real practice and having the hands trained for the finesse. And quite quickly, as you see, like the second horn is, as I said before, like 90%, then you're going to leave it like that and then start over on another section. We can go, where can we go here? Let's continue on the top. Here we go for his ear. Always, like I said, start stippling lightly and eventually start developing the tones with the cross hatching. If you want, in this case, you can do it. In many cases you can't, but here, since we have like a darker border, you can just whip shade it, like pick and flick, right? It helps us doing the gradient part. If not, we had to rely on the pendulum effects to try to smooth everything. Okay, now let's go for the other ear. Here we have the inside of the ear way darker, so almost pitch black. So here we don't have any problem with the lightness, we just go for it. But also, don't forgetting just to do the cross hatch. So we darken up even more and hide out the direction of the points. Okay. Always cross hatch. That should be my my motto. Always cross hatch. I should stamp that on my shirts. Always cross hatch. So this part is a little bit trickier. Why? Because the area is really thin, but I want to try a gradual fade from this black area towards the outside of the ear, okay? So it just doesn't look like weird and with a really high separation. And since the area is really small, really thin, it's a little bit more trickier than if I was, like, for instance, with like this area here, which is way larger, okay? And it would be like easier to do. we are trying to blur a little bit more the lines between the inside and the outside of the ear. Okay? Just going just around it to give a little bit more definition of the ear itself. It's a little bit more blurred than it was. Now you just don't see like a specific border between both things, right? And that was my intention. Now, there's some wrinkles here on the Rhino skin. What I'm going to do right now, this is like the ending part here, and I just want to end it with a smooth gradient. But for now, we are going to mark a little bit with some force these specific wrinkles. And then we are going over it with the stippling. All right. Okay. No, I'm Portuguese. Okay. Honestly, I'm Portuguese. I tattoo for 5 years now. Not that long, honestly. I'm almost like starting out, let's say that way. Thank you. Sorry also about my English, because that's not perfect. So my mother language is Portuguese, right? But but yeah, I'm Portuguese. I'm from Porto. Don't know if you know where the city is. But yeah, I started 5 years ago. Don't have like a huge amount of experience, but there's something already. I'm glad you are learning, so don't be afraid to ask if I know how to explain you, or if I know how to answer. I'll do it for sure. I believe here on cooperation, and I don't like that gatekeeping stuff. That doesn't help anyone, honestly. Yeah, I have Instagram. The Instagram is the same. It's anxious_pokes. Anxious pokes. Well, almost 4 years, yeah. You also have a little bit on your hands as well. But yeah, as you know, like 4 years, 5 years, that's not much on tattooing. You have still, you and me, we have still a lot to learn and that's why I'm keep pushing through these videos, because even through these trainings, these practices, I still can say that I've learned a lot, honestly. Now, underneath here, the ear, let's darken up here a little bit more. Always cross-hatching, so we don't see those directional off-fall points. Yeah, of course. Yeah, and that's the interesting part. Like when you start tattooing, like the first year. So I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I remember now. I'm going to tell you a really interesting story. I have my how can I say, like cousin-in-law. It's like the cousin of my girlfriend. Hello, Jacob. He's a tattoo artist as well, but he started like 2 years ago. And he started out, he didn't have any kind of mentorship or whatever. And he started, and when I get some time, when I was getting some time, some free time, I was trying to help him, like with some questions and some doubts he has. And one of the things that I already said to him, like he was like really starting out, and I was like into my, I don't know, like 2-3 years into tattooing, and I was telling like, you don't know how hard it is to do like a proper line, like a proper stable line from beginning to the end. You don't know how hard it is. And he was like, yeah, okay, whatever, right? Then a few months, or maybe eventually like a year passed, and he came to me and said, like, dude, what you said me like 1 year ago or whatever, it stuck with me, and I didn't pay that much attention to that, because I was already like tracing lines and whatnot. But when I was seeing like the result, like the the healed result, I really understood what you were saying. Like, and that's it, right? You know, like when you start like in the first year, first 2 years, everything sounds like really easy, and well, this isn't that hard. But if you keep track of your clients and the tattoos you are doing, as soon as they start to develop, right, and you see the absolute horror that you have put there, like, my God, then you see that really that's, well, you don't know nothing. So that's a really humbling, in my opinion, that's a really humbling way to acknowledge that you need to always still learn. You know nothing really. Almost like Jon Snow. So now we are doing like these wrinkles here. I'm not like, I don't want, since this is like an attempt to do like something around the realism realm, I don't want to do lines. So what I'm doing, I'm just like stippling across the direction of the wrinkles and try to fade them a little bit. so there's not like a proper line. Then when I go over with a light stipple, the markings are still here, but there's not like a definitive line, you know. Here it's way darker, so you can get a little bit more harsh with the shadow. Here we're just going to lightly stipple because it's like the ending area, so, and we don't want to end it like abruptly, just like it was fading away. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And honestly, that's my huge problem. No, well, not really a problem, because it was like when I was starting up, I like in the first couple of months, let's say, I used my legs to try different stuff, to try different techniques, to experience. But eventually you have the legs aren't infinite, right? And then my girlfriend stepped up and wanted me to do something on her. However, and the main issue here, yeah. Yes, of course. It's always hard. Even the simplest things that you may think, oh no, this will be easy, but it's always hard. No way. But as I was saying, like my girlfriend asked me to do some stuff on her. Problem here, she only wanted to do like a fine line stuff, like really tiny tattoos in fine line, and I was like, dude, no way. I'm starting out, like, you know, like I started this like a week ago. I know I can't do proper fine line work, but he really wanted just that kind of stuff, and I went for it. So, okay, let's go. So just because I was going all over with 3RL, like a really bug pin 3s, I started almost only doing that kind of work, and that's what I mostly do nowadays. It's like fine line. I was just doing that, almost just that, nothing more. So people got to know my stuff, know my work. People started liking those really fine line stuff, and I almost only do that kind of work. That is not the thing that I love the most, of course, it's not. I enjoy this kind of work much more. However, well, it pays, right? It gives you money to keep going, so you can't refuse, right? And all started out basically when my girlfriend asked me to yeah, no doubt. Honestly, I have a lot to thank her for my journey on tattooing. Not just that, but also when I started out, or when I decided to give it a try with tattooing, we were going to be first-time parents, and I was like, well, this is not a proper time to to start on this. Yeah. Well, that's not only me, it's me and that guy that I was talking about earlier, like his cousin. We both have a tattoo studio. It's a private studio, but yes. Because right now I'm in Porto, but I started tattooing in Lisbon. And Porto is my hometown. And when I came back here to Porto a few months ago, he knew that I was coming, and he told me right away, like, well, don't even look for any tattoo studio. You can stay here with me. And well, that was like a huge relief. So there's a lot of stuff to be looking for when you change cities, and having that figured out, it was like a huge relief coming out. So now we are starting here on the eye, and this part is really tricky because if you mess something up, that's done. You can mess a lot of stuff around here, but if you screw up the eye, that's done. If I was good at drawing, no. God, no. I always like this question because it's almost it's almost what people don't expect for a tattoo artist to answer. Because when you ask any tattoo artist, well, your drawings were good, almost all the time they are going to say, I drawn since I was in my mom's belly and whatnot. No, my drawings were awful. But honestly, I don't like to romanticize stuff. I like to be pragmatic. You don't need to know how to draw, okay? The absolute important thing here on tattooing, and if you are talking about like realism, mostly, you need to know to be aware of the lightning, of how the light comes and interacts with the certain object, okay? That is the most important thing that you need to know. So you don't mess up. Because tattooing is just about contrast, and you can't have like a muddy tattoo where everything is like mid-tones. You need to have dark tones, you need to have light tones, and you need to have middle tones. But everything here have to be a little bit consistent. A person commenting that says a tattoo from home, that means okay. Honestly, it really depends. Like a tattooing from home, like I never tattooed from home, okay? So, but that was just my I don't know how to say it, but that was like a line that I don't want it to cross, okay? Because home, it's like my space, my private space. I have my family, and I don't want like strange people coming up and whatever, you know. So I never tattooed from home. However, if you can see that a lot of people nowadays have like tattoo studios, like private tattoo studios, and they can be like in apartments, like in homes, and that just doesn't mean they are scratchers. I know a lot of people here in Portugal that have like private tattoo studios in like houses, in apartments, and they are like a huge deal, you know. They simply don't want to be linked to a store or don't want to be at the store all the time. It's an option, okay? That's not like someone like saying, well, you are a scratcher or whatnot. Well, that could be said depending on your skills, and not if you are doing that from home or whatever. Like I can tell you that I was I've been on a tattoo studio, on a proper tattoo studio, working, and I can tell you that if I was working from home, I can assure you that it would be way more hygienic than that specific studio. Okay. So in the studio itself, it was we were like four tattoo artists there, and I was the only one that had like proper cleaning stuff, you know, like antibacterial, anti-fungi, anti-virus sprays and solutions to deal with that, to deal with the cleaning. I was the only one. No one else used that there. So let me ask you, if you were tattooing from home and having the same cares that I do, cleaning everything, sterilizing everything, do you think that was better, the filthy tattoo studio, than your home? Well, 5 years now. Not a long time. People always have to take something with a little grain of salt, and not everything is like definitive or well. Thank you for the follow, Brandon. Because, you know, just because, oh well, he's tattooing from home, he's a scratcher or whatnot, man, forget it. It's like, if you do proper work and proper skill, if you have proper skills, it doesn't matter if you are tattooing from home, if you are tattooing from the huge studio, it honestly doesn't matter. Since you have the proper cares and proper attention to hygiene, well, that's the most important stuff to deal with. I can assure you that the story I was talking about that specific studio I was at, one day the studio owner, one of the tattooers that were there, I usually started early all the time, okay? Oh, let me just give a break for Brandon here. I love stick and poke. I honestly love stick and poke. I was in love with stick and poke even before wanting to know to be a tattoo artist or whatnot. I love it. And you can check on my channel. I have a couple of videos around stick and poke. You can check them. What do you think about the type of tattooing? It's really cool, and it's a nice way to enter the tattooing world, honestly. It's a really nice technique to learn to tattoo. However, if you want to just like wet your feet on stick and poke to enter the tattoo world, I would advise you to use something called like machine poke. It's the same process, but instead of like manually doing it, uses a machine just to like the dot work, honestly. That's it. That's it, Thomas. You are, yeah, of course. Of course. That doesn't mean anything. Like, well, you tattoo from home, you are a scratcher. Dude, no, no. And I can tell you also another thing, like my actual tattoo studio where I'm at, it's a private tattoo studio. It's not like a storefront, but it's like some kind of like a garage, you know, and it's it's on the first floor of a house. Okay, you don't enter the house. You have like a specific entrance for the tattoo studio, of course, but it's like in a residential area, you know, like there's no stores there, let's say. And a lot of people eventually can be a little bit like, well, is this a proper studio? But I can assure you, the studio is clean. It's way cleaner than, let's say, like most studios that you go, like that have like a storefront, you know. It's properly clean. All stuff are clean. Like my machines. If you want, you can pick them one right now and you can lick it, because I can assure you that is really clean. Because even besides using the disposable plastic bags to protect the machine, all the time, after I tattoo anything at all, and even though I'm using that kind of stuff, I always go through the cleaning with that anti-fungi, antiviral, antibacterial stuff. So I honestly assure you that my machines are properly cleaned up. And as they are, also the floor, the ground. So right now we are doing here this light setup. Here I was like trying to do some texture on the Rhino's face. Yeah, no, it's not defending. It's honestly what I really think about it. Now I'm just marking the areas where I need to be a little bit darker than the rest. And I was talking about about learning and whatnot. For instance, something that I acknowledge doing these practices here is that I have a huge problem, and I have to deal with it eventually. Not eventually, but I have to learn a little bit more. I'm having a huge problem placing like specific textures with this technique, with the stippling. It's been really hard for me, and I'm trying out a couple of ways, but I guess I really need to to go a little bit deeper on that, because it's been a little bit harder for me to go around it. And when you are trying to do some realistic work, those like micro textures, they are everything, because they really help you sell the realism, the realistic idea, right? Sorry. Like for now, here on these patterns here, I don't know if right now if I went a little bit too hard on this, too dark. I wish eventually I hadn't done that dark markings. Yeah, it's a tattoo machine. Right, this one on really it's the Fold Pro Ear of the Horse with a ballpoint pen attached, ballpoint pen cartridge attached to it. Great way to practice. Now giving it a little white base. Darken up a little bit more here. Thank you. I don't know if I don't know who was Brandon. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. yes. Yeah, I know. But here, since I only have like black, pure black to deal with, I'm a little bit limited, you know. I don't have like different shades here, and I would like to be able to deal with this, because if I can pull textures, like interesting textures using only black, that's a really skill, in my opinion, to develop. And that's the thing that I'm trying to learn now. About I don't know who was Brandon Yeager. You were talking about hand poke. But I don't know. I think you didn't told me. You are thinking about doing hand poke to enter like the tattoo world, like just like a means to enter it, and eventually going with starting to do something with tattoo machine, or you want to just do like hand poke. What's your position here? Okay. Okay, okay. Be careful though with the ink, okay? Because if you bought everything from a mall, if try to know if it's like a real proper tattoo shop, you know, because you have also those like kits from Amazon and the ink it's absolute garbage. Yeah, yeah, that kind of let me just pull there. Wait just a moment. I was saying, yeah, that kind of ink. Hello, that kind of ink. That's perfect for like doing some stuff eventually on fake skin. That's okay, but going for your own skin, I would buy a really decent brand, an ink from a really decent brand. Okay. Don't cheap out on that kind of stuff, okay? I'm just like, I don't know, it could be good, okay? It could be good. I would never buy ink from eBay, okay? Or Amazon. So, buying ink, I will always buy ink from proper tattoo shops, okay? That's just a matter of safety, you know, because you don't know, honestly, because there's a lot of counterfeit brands running around, even on eBay, and people can leave a good review, but eventually afterwards, when that heals, it could be like a complete disaster, you know. Let me just get up a little bit more here on the light. It's a bit dark here. Yeah. No, that ink from the kit, that's fine. That's good enough for the fake skin, you know. That's okay. No problem at all. But for yourself or others, try to get something from a proper tattoo shop, like, I don't know, like Killer Ink, or I'm just saying something that's a little bit more global. I'm sure on your area you have one or two tattoo stores. Yeah, but that's up to you. Like, there's no need. Just for practicing and for just the fake skin, even expired ink. That's no problem. Trying to develop here a little bit of a shadow to give a nice sense of 3D. I can assure you that you won't be that you honestly you would like it. It takes a little bit to get used to it because it's really different, but that's really cool. Yeah. Then there's also something that... Oh, okay, I was almost forgot. So you have also this option here, okay? In here, if you do have like a rotary machine like this, what I've done here is like I disassemble the regular pen. I can't open this. I just disassembled a regular pen, picked up a tattoo grip, okay, and just used a standard traditional needle, clip just the little end where it fits here on the cam, placed it inside the tube of the pen. With a lighter, just contract the little bit more of the plastic tube, and that's it. It can work. It works as well. It works perfectly. The only problem here, and why I'm not using this right now, is just because this machine has a 4.0 millimeter stroke. It's way too large for this kind of stuff, and I want like a more condensed feeling, so I'm using this machine with a 2.5 millimeter stroke. Okay, that's just the only reason that I'm using like this here, because here you really need like a really low stroke, so things are really thin and the most how can I say, the most soft as possible. Okay. But when I was, because I already had this a box of these cartridges, but I had them like for 2 years or something, and I guess that dried up. And when I was waiting for these to come, I remember that I could figure out some other way to to start doing this, and I came up with this situation. Now doing the nostril, that's like solid black. Here on the mouth will be a lot darker here. Now going to darken up this area here just to refine this area. Yeah, it's way similar to the needle. It's almost, not almost, it's the exact format as a needle cartridge. The difference is really, instead of having a needle in here, you'll just have like a tip from a ballpoint pen. And you can use it obviously for practicing, of course. And well, you can do other kinds of work if you want to do really, like, I don't know, like artistic work with it. You can also do, of course, as you can do with a regular pen. Oops. Yeah, it's somewhat different, yeah. You eventually will need a couple of days to get used to it. Definitely it feels different in your hand, because here here, as you want it or not, you also have like this thing pulling you in this way, so you always have to counter these weights, right? Even if you don't have like a battery, but you also always have here like the motor pulling you against with the pen. It's more centered, so it takes a little bit of a difference. What's better for me? Well, it just depends on your what you prefer, honestly, because if you want there's no like right or wrong answer. Yeah, like when the battery when they started doing like batteries, when the first critical battery came out, I bought it immediately, because I didn't like at all like using a cord, okay? However, there's no like right or wrong answer for this. It just depends on your feel and how you prefer it. I just went with a pen style just because the ease of use and the practicality of everything, honestly. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. But as I said, honestly, there's no right or wrong answer. Just you can experience, you can try with a pen style, and if you are cool with that, nice. It's more practical. It's more easy to clean. It's easier to set up. But if you feel that you prefer the rotary, well, just keep it. Keep the rotary. That's a nice skill. Now you can do your own rotary tattoo machines. That's nice. Yeah, it's like a Presentat again, right? Like a Presentat machine. Yeah, but that's cool as well. There's a lot of people that nowadays that are tattooing solely like on those types of machine, like a disposable tattoo machine. most likely you could tattoo you could definitely tattoo a Rhino with that kind of stuff, with that power. Now we are finishing it here. However, there's some stuff here that I honestly don't like that much, and I can tell you what those are. For instance, here, this shadow here is way too much pronunciated. It's way too dark, and I messed up here. I'll try to figure how to deal with this eventually by trying to darken up a little bit more around, so this doesn't feel out of space here. Just going to darken everything a little bit more. No doubt, no doubt. It really takes some imagination to create those kinds of stuff. So as I said before, since I messed up with this area here, now what I'm trying to do here is like to darken a little bit more the surrounding areas, so I could hide this mess. That's the problem I was talking about doing this with this stippling cartridge. It's not that much forgiving. Yeah, and I'm almost finishing it. Just doing couple more touches here and there, and I'll call it a day. Afterwards, this is just a study, so no need to be really that perfectionist about everything. And if at least you know where you went wrong, that's the main take. about it all. So on the next day you can correct the mistake. Yeah, I guess I'm done with this. I think I could hide it a little bit more, so that's nice. Oh, it doesn't have a name. It's just like it's just like a place where I and my colleague work. So we have both our Instagram handles, and we don't have like a proper name for it. It's just a place. So that's this for now, for today at least. It's done. It wasn't perfect, but at least it was what we could do. Hope you guys liked it, this little bit, and see you on the next live. Tomorrow I won't be doing, but eventually Monday there's another live for me. Tomorrow I'll take a break. So thank you for being there. Thank you for keeping me company, and see you Monday. Have a good Sunday. Bye bye.